Welcome to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real, the podcast where people like you get the practical solutions and support you need to permanently lose the physical and mental weight so you can feel better and live the life you really want to live in the body and mind you really want to be living in. If you're looking to overcome your stress eating, overeating, binging behaviors, and move to a place of food and body freedom, as well as find more meaning and more moments of joy in life, you are in the right place. Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here and listening to Weight Loss and Wellness for Real. I am continuing on in our very practical series on quicker weight loss. Today, we are going to talk about one of, I believe, the more practical, very, very practical, and kind of eye-opening tools that you can use for quicker weight loss. And do not groan or sigh or roll your eyes. Hear me out on this one, but it is tracking calories to find your personal baseline. Now, before we jump into this, I really want to make a few things very, very clear. If tracking calories feels triggering for you in any way, if it brings up stress, anxiety, or obsessive thoughts, you do not need to do this, okay? There are other ways to create a calorie deficit without tracking, and I'm going to cover those later in the episode. It's just that we have a lot of evidence behind tracking our food, even if just for a short time, can really help that weight come off quicker. So, the second point I really want to make clear, and hopefully, if you've been listening to this a long time, you're going to understand this. This is not about tracking forever. I see finding your baseline caloric expenditure as a very short term tool to help you understand your body's needs, to help you understand what your personal body is doing. So then we can create ways to help you, if your goal is to lose weight, to lose that weight quicker and to be able to eat in a way that helps you sustain or maintain that body that you are wanting to live in. Okay, the third thing, if you do this and you discover that your calorie needs are very low, and usually I would say like 1,200 calories or less, this could indicate metabolic adaptation, hormonal imbalances, or other health concerns. And you really should talk to a doctor before making any drastic changes, because the problem is when your caloric needs are that low or less than that, and maybe now this can be a little, if you're a really, really small person, then your caloric needs might be a little bit like around that or a little lower than that. But if you're an average size person, especially if you have some extra weight and your calorie needs are, I just like to say, lower than that 1,200 mark, probably there are some other things going on. Okay. And this is also just a little backstory why when there's that controversy of it's weight loss is all about calories in, calories out, or the other side of the coin where it has nothing to do with calories. Neither of those are true. Everything is right in the middle, right? Because calories in, calories out, yes, it does matter for weight loss. And those are the things we need to tweak to get the weight off or to stay at maintenance or whatever. And also, some people are going to be dealing with other things that create their caloric baseline to be very, very low, that we don't want to keep reducing food intake or increasing movement, because that's going to bring that baseline even lower. And that really then causes this metabolic adaptation where we lose a lot of energy. We're not getting nourishment into all the parts of our body that we need. And so if you find out your caloric needs are very, very low like that, there is probably something else going on where you're going to need to talk to someone who specializes in this to help you. Maybe it's going to be doing some hormone replacement therapy. Maybe it's going to be you need some thyroid medication. Maybe it's going to be, some other health concerns. So I just really want to hit that point home that yes, calories in, calories out matters. And also, some of us have other things going on that are creating our metabolic adaptation is so low that we really can't continue to reduce calories. And that's where you have to look at some other possibilities coming in. Okay, so now that I've sort of set the stage, let's get into why tracking works, because it does, how to do it effectively, because you want to be doing it correctly to make it work, and what your results can tell you about your body's metabolism and hormones. So let's get into the science behind tracking calories for weight loss, because I know some of you want to hear this to be convinced. There is a reason why tracking is one of the most effective weight loss strategies. It is literally backed by solid research. So we've got a 2019, there's actually lots of studies, but these are a couple of the ones I pulled. A 2019 study published in Obesity found that people who consistently monitor their food intake lost more weight and kept it off better than those who did not track at all. Another study in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that participants who kept a food diary lost twice as much weight as those who did not track their food. Okay, so why is this? Because most of us, including me, massively underestimate how much we eat. And by the way, this is due to all sorts of reasons, but one of the big ones is that over time, we get inundated with portion sizes on TV and commercials in restaurants, fast food. And these portion sizes have become so incredibly large. It sort of tricked our brain into thinking, a large fry from McDonald's is a normal portion size, when in reality, years and years ago, it was probably about a third of the size. So understanding that our brains have shifted over time to portion size, what an actual healthy portion size is, it just creates this part of us that massively underestimates how much we eat. There was research published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that even trained dietitians, this is their job, underreported their calorie intake by about 20%, while the general population, the rest of us, underestimates by an average of 30 to 50%. And this means if you think you're eating 1,800 calories, you might actually be eating closer to 2,400 calories. That's a really big difference. And it's a huge difference if you're trying to drop weight or maintain your weight. So if you've ever felt like, I swear I'm eating in a calorie deficit, but nothing is changing, tracking might really help reveal the reality or the truth of what exactly is going on. Now, it might be true. You might find out it's true, but then you kind of know there's something else going on here. And, I need to see a medical professional to find out what's going on. You've also probably seen those online calculators that tell you how many calories you should eat to lose weight, right? You plug in your weight, you plug in your height, that kind of thing. And these can give you a rough idea, but they are based on population averages and not your unique body. They do not account for things like your muscle mass, because muscle burns more calories than fat. So two people with the same weight but differing muscle levels will have very different caloric needs. It doesn't take into account your dieting history. Chronic dieting can lower your metabolism over time, making standard formulas a lot less accurate for you. Doesn't take into account your hormone levels. We're going to talk about this more in a bit, but this is why finding your own baseline instead of relying on generic formulas is so valuable. Okay, so how to find your baseline calories in 2 weeks. How do you actually do it? Here is the step-by-step process. Just a quick interruption to tell you about a product I really, really love. This is David protein bars, and they are the best out there with the highest protein content of any other bar with the amount of calories. So these have the highest protein content and the lowest calories out there and very limited sugar. They give you exactly what you need. Fuel that works without the unnecessary junk in them. And whether you need a quick post-workout snack or something to keep you going during a busy day, or you need to get your protein in the mornings for breakfast and you don't have a lot of time, these bars have you covered. And as a listener, you get an exclusive discount. Use davidprotein.com/Heather. So again, davidprotein.com/Heather to save on your order. And if you want, you can just scroll below to the episode description, and there's a link right there for you that you can click on and get you there immediately. You need to track everything you eat for 14 days. and I mean everything. Use an app like MyFitnessPal, Chronometer, Lose It, any app like that. And I will work with clients on if this is really triggering, we'll use a paper pencil journal, but then they have to take a lot of time to go research how many calories they actually took in from what they ate. So I really do suggest using for just these 2 weeks an app. So you get way more accurate calorie count, macro profile. Remember, macros are proteins, carbs, and fats. And we'll maybe talk about that in another episode. But you really, when you're tracking in an app, you want to be as accurate as possible. So log everything you eat and drink. This includes small bites. This includes the little handful of almonds you maybe grab. This includes coffee creamers. This includes cooking oils. If you want this strategy to work, and it can work, you have to front load it with accuracy. I know this is a pain in the butt. I know people hate to do that, but it's just for 2 weeks. And if you can do it just for 2 weeks, it is so huge in the information you can gain and can make it so much easier to actually do the things to drop the weight quickly. So I also recommend to clients who agree to do this before these 2 weeks, since you're already tracking, it's already a pain in the butt to try to weigh and measure everything you possibly can. So if you're cooking with oil, measure the cooking oil that you're using so that you can really understand, or like, especially salad dressings are a big one. If you can measure or weigh that on a food scale, how much you're actually using. Because if you do 2 tablespoons of you're just kind of dumping it on there and it's 2 tablespoons of the salad dressing versus measuring out 1 tablespoon, that can be a difference of like 150 to 200 calories just in 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of specific, maybe not so good for you salad dressings. So that's just an example. Another one is nuts. Usually these are high fat foods where things get tricky. Nut butters. If you are doing, you're just kind of reaching in, grabbing the spoon and you're like, yeah, that's a tablespoon, but you're not weighing it. It most likely is closer to 2 tablespoons, which again is another 100 to 150 calorie difference in what you're eating in that meal. So really weighing, measuring everything you can I just feel like you're already doing the hard work of logging. Why not make it as accurate as possible? It is only for 2 weeks. And then again, this is a little counterintuitive to what I just said, but you really want to be in the right mindset for this. So understanding you're not going to be absolutely perfect, just doing your best, tracking to the best of your ability is where you want to keep that mindset. All right, step 2, you need to track your weight daily. You need to know what your weight is every single day over these 2 weeks so that at the end of the 2 weeks, we can understand, did your weight stay the same? If so, then we know your calories that you've been tracking, you are at baseline, you're in maintenance. Did your weight go down over 2 weeks? Okay, then we know you're eating in a deficit. Did your weight go up? Then we know you are in excess of your baseline. So I know lots of people get triggered by the scale. I actually do myself. I've done a ton of work on this and I still can get triggered by that number on the scale. But if you want to do this accurately and you just really got to put that mindset into a space of, I can handle the emotional ups and downs of the scale. The scale number does not mean anything about me. This is an experiment. I'm using this to track and gain more information. You really have to set up your mind for that because you do need to have your weight every single morning. You want to do it at the same time every morning, right when you wake up after using the bathroom. So you want to go to the bathroom right after you wake up and hop on that scale and wear the same clothing every single time you do this, or go naked every single time. Just everything has to be the same every single morning. And do not get discouraged by fluctuations. Your weight will naturally go up and down based on water retention, based on digestion and hormones. So we're focusing on the trend over 2 weeks. We're just going to look at the average over 2 weeks. So got to really get into a different mindset about this, but you do need that daily weigh-in every single day. Okay, and then step 3, you're going to analyze your data. So at the end of 2 weeks, you want to look at the patterns. Like I said, if your weight stayed the same, then your average daily calorie intake is your true maintenance level. This is how much your body burns each day. If your weight went up, you are likely eating above your maintenance. If your weight went down, you are likely in a caloric deficit. And this gives you way more accurate information than an online calculator because it's based on your actual body's response. All right, so what do you do with this information? After those 2 weeks, once you know your baseline, you can decide how to adjust. If your goal is to lose weight, create a very modest calorie deficit daily, like 200 to 500 calories per day. If you want to maintain your weight, continue eating at your baseline. To gain muscle, you want to eat slightly above your baseline while prioritizing protein and strength training. The key here is sustainability. Extreme calorie deficits will always backfire by slowing your metabolism and increasing hunger hormones. Okay, so how hormones affect your baseline calories. They do play, we know, we've got a ton of research out there recently. They play a huge role in your metabolism and how much your body burns in energy. So, number one, thyroid hormones, T3 and T4. Your thyroid controls your metabolism. If it's underactive, hypothyroidism, your calorie needs are going to be lower than expected. Symptoms of an underactive thyroid include fatigue, cold intolerance, slow weight loss, and hair thinning. Another hormone that come into play is cortisol. We call it the stress hormone. Chronic stress increases cortisol, which can lead to increased hunger and fat storage, especially around the belly. High cortisol can also slow down metabolism over time. This is why I work with a lot of clients on stress reduction skills, how to manage stress better, because we're really trying to lower that cortisol that it continues to, like, cortisol is supposed to go high in the morning to help wake us up, but in clients like these, their cortisol pattern stays high all day long because of chronic stress. And so if we can help them implement strategies to reduce stress on a daily basis, that can help them lose the weight they're wanting to lose, especially around the middle section. And other hormones that come into play are leptin and ghrelin. So these are the hunger and fullness hormones. Leptin tells your brain you're full, while ghrelin tells your brain you're hungry. So if you've been dieting for a long time, if you've been doing the yo-yo dieting cycle or just been in a diet forever and always, leptin will drop, which makes you feel hungrier even at maintenance calories. So you can understand why that becomes a problem for maintaining a weight loss or getting in more weight loss. And then estrogen and progesterone. Fluctuations in these hormones, especially during perimenopause and menopause, can lower metabolism and increase fat storage. And this is why two people of the same weight and height can have totally different calorie needs. Hormones, muscle mass, and diet history all play a role. All right, so if you do this experiment for 2 weeks and you find out your maintenance calories are extremely low, so for example, if your baseline is 1,200 calories or less, it could indicate metabolic adaptation. Your body has slowed its metabolism due to chronic dieting. Could indicate low muscle mass, which decreases calorie burn. It might be hormonal imbalances that affect metabolism. In this case, do not cut calories further. Instead, you want to focus on strength training to build muscle, which increases metabolism, eating more protein and fiber to support metabolic health, managing stress and sleep. Both hugely affect metabolism. And then consulting a doctor to check for underlying issues. Really, really important, y'all. Okay, so what if I don't want to track? If tracking to you feels overwhelming, you can still find a somewhat accurate baseline by using the hunger and fullness scale instead of counting calories, by eating structured balanced meals, right? So making sure all your meals are protein, fiber, some carbs, and healthy fats all within one meal, and eating that way every single day. That can be helpful. And then paying attention to energy levels, cravings, and hunger cues. So here are some of my final thoughts. Tracking calories for a short period, yes, it's a pain in the butt, but it can give you incredibly valuable insights about what your body actually needs. It is a tool, not a punishment. And if you can keep that mindset, it won't feel so obsessive or negative. This is a tool, not a punishment. If you decide to try this, I would love to hear how it goes. Message me on Instagram. You can send me an email. And if you're struggling with figuring this all out, my coaching program is open. I can help you navigate this in a way that works for you. I really appreciate you listening. I hope you found something valuable, and I will see you in the next episode. We will talk soon.
The information in this podcast is intended to provide a broad understanding and knowledge of healthcare topics. This information is for educational purposes only and should not be considered complete and should not be used in place of advice from your physician or healthcare provider. We recommend you consult your physician or healthcare professional before beginning or altering your personal exercise, diet, or supplementation program.
Did you know you can find a lot more help from me on my website? Go to heatherheynen.com. Heynen is spelled Heynen, and there you will find links to my online courses, how I work with clients one-on-one, as well as online with my coaching and counseling services that I offer.